What if I told you there's a civilization that has been invaded, burned, and conquered more times than almost any nation on Earth, and yet, every single time, it was the invaders who changed, not the civilization, the invaders. We're talking about a place where Alexander the Great, after defeating them on the battlefield, started wearing their clothes, speaking their language, and imitating their royal court. Where Mongol warriors, fresh off the bloodiest campaigns in human history, suddenly became poets and architects. Where Arab conquerors, within a generation, were writing their greatest scientific works in Persian. This is the story of Iran, and it is one of the strangest, most astonishing survival stories in all of human history. Most people, when they think about the cradle of civilization, picture Mesopotamia, ancient Sumer, Babylon, or Egypt. Iran barely gets a mention. That's a massive historical blind spot. Archaeological evidence from sites like Giraft and the Sialk Ziggurat pushes Iranian urban settlements back 6,000 to 7,000 years. Ceramic vessels from the 4th millennium BC confirm this wasn't empty land waiting to be discovered. It was a living, thriving civilization. The first major political power here was Elam, centered in what is now southwestern Iran. The Elamites were so formidable that by the 26th century BC, they were effectively dictating terms to the Sumerians. But here's the detail that stops historians in their tracks. In the 23rd century BC, after a war between Elam and the Achaemenid Empire, the conflict ended not with total conquest, but with a written treaty, a formal agreement guaranteeing Elam's sovereignty in exchange for diplomatic alignment. The first international treaty in recorded human history, signed on Iranian soil. But who are the Iranians really? Because the answer might surprise you. The people we call Iranians today didn't originate on that plateau. They arrived between the 20th and 15th centuries BC, nomadic tribes descending from Central Asia and the Caucasus. They were Indo-Europeans. Their ancient language was a direct cousin of Latin, Greek, and the ancestors of English and Spanish. They called themselves Arya, meaning the noble ones, and they named their new homeland Aryanam Vaija, the land of the Aryans. Over time, that word quietly transformed into the name we know today, Iran. Now here's where the story gets philosophically wild. Before Christianity, before Islam, before Judaism developed its concept of the end of days, a religion was born on the Iranian plateau that would quietly rewire the spiritual software of the entire world. Zoroastrianism. At its core, Zoroastrianism taught that the universe is a battlefield. On one side, Ahura Mazda, the supreme god of light, truth, and order. On the other, Angra Mainyu, the spirit of pure evil, chaos, and darkness. But what made this revolutionary wasn't the good versus evil framework. It was something far more radical. Zoroastrianism was the first tradition in history to declare that time is not a circle. It moves in a straight line. There was a beginning, there will be an end, a final battle, a purification by fire, a judgment. Sound familiar? When the Persian Empire conquered Babylon in the 6th century BC, they freed the Jewish people held captive there. For the next 2 centuries, Jewish thinkers lived in close contact with Zoroastrian culture. Scholars, including the philosopher Friedrich Nietzsche, who named his great work after the Iranian prophet Zarathustra, have acknowledged this transfer. The concept of linear time, apocalypse, and final judgment flowed from Iranian thought into Judaism, then into Christianity, then into Islam. The Iranian plateau didn't just produce ancient pottery, it produced the architecture of time itself. And then came the empire. In 550 BC, a man named Cyrus, half Persian, half Median, unified the Iranian tribes and built something the world had never seen, the Achaemenid Empire, the first true superpower in human history. At its height under Darius I, the empire stretched from Egypt to the Indus Valley. Nearly 50 million people, roughly half the world's population at the time, lived under Persian rule. But what made Cyrus remarkable wasn't the size of his empire, it was how he ran it. When Cyrus conquered Lydia, the Greek cities of Asia Minor, or Babylon, he didn't torch the temples. He didn't enslave the populations. He issued what historians now call the Cyrus Cylinder, often described as the world's first declaration of human rights. He let conquered peoples keep their religions, their customs, their local leaders. He built an empire on respect. Darius took it further, dividing the empire into 20 administrative provinces called satrapies, creating a unified tax system, minting gold coins, and establishing the fastest state postal network on Earth. Now, here's the part of history they don't teach you in Western classrooms. You've heard of the 300 Spartans, the heroic last stand at Thermopylae, the mighty Greek resistance against the Persian invaders. It's one of the most celebrated stories in Western history. But here's what actually happened afterward. The Persians lost some battles on the Greek frontier. Those territories were peripheral, so they changed tactics. They started funding the Greeks, first Athens, then Sparta, playing them against each other. The Greek city-states bled themselves dry in decades of civil war. In 387 BC, the Greeks, exhausted and broke, were forced to sign a humiliating peace treaty on terms dictated by the Persian king Artaxerxes. What Persia couldn't conquer by sword, it purchased with gold. The Achaemenid Empire became the shadow master of Greece without firing a single additional arrow. In 330 BC, Alexander the Great burned Persepolis. The Achaemenid Empire collapsed. Iran, it seemed, was finished. And yet, within a generation, Alexander himself was wearing Persian robes, adopting Persian court ceremony, and marrying a Persian princess. The Seleucid dynasty that replaced him, Greek rulers on Iranian soil, began absorbing the culture around them like a sponge. This is when the pattern becomes undeniable. The Parthians drove out the Greeks in the 3rd century BC and declared themselves heirs to the Achaemenid legacy. For 5 centuries, they held off the Roman Empire itself, using mobile cavalry and a technique so effective it became legendary. The Parthian shot, firing arrows backward at full gallop while retreating. Then, the Sassanid Empire rose in 224 AD. 400 years of near-continuous warfare against Rome, then Byzantium. Iranian civilization was back at the top of the world. And then came the Arabs, and everything changed. Or did it? In 651 AD, the Sassanid capital fell. The last Persian emperor was assassinated. The Arab Caliphate swept across Iran, bringing Islam and the Arabic language with it. For any other civilization, this would have been the end, the complete erasure of identity. Look at Egypt, look at Syria, both ancient, sophisticated cultures, both thoroughly Arabized within a few generations. But the Persians did something different. They converted to Islam, but kept their language. They served in the Caliphate's bureaucracy and remade it in their image. By the time of the Abbasid Caliphate, the most powerful administrators, scientists, and poets in the Islamic world were Persian. The caliphs were adopting Persian court customs. The greatest works of Islamic science and philosophy were being written in Persian, not Arabic. Then came the Mongols. In 1220, Genghis Khan descended on Iran with an apocalyptic fury. Cities were razed. Ancient irrigation systems built over millennia were destroyed. Skull towers marked where cities used to stand. And yet, when Genghis Khan's grandson Hulagu founded a Mongol state on Iranian soil, the Ilkhanate, those same ferocious conquerors converted to Islam,
made Persian the official state language, and began commissioning magnificent blue-domed Persian mosques. A century later, Tamerlane arrived. He built pyramids from severed heads. He also brought Iranian artisans back to his capital in chains because he needed their genius to beautify his empire. The pattern held every single time. Conquer Iran, become Iranian. By 1501, a ruler named Shah Ismail unified the country and founded the Safavid dynasty, declaring Shia Islam the state religion, permanently separating Iran culturally and politically from the Sunni Ottoman world. Iran had forged yet another distinct identity. Then came the 20th century, a new kind of war, not military, but symbolic. For centuries, the Western world had called this country Persia, a word derived from the Greek name for one of its regions. To European ears, it meant fairy tales, flying carpets, exotic spices, a place of romance and backwardness in equal measure. In
1935, Shah Reza Pahlavi had enough. He sent a formal directive to every embassy in the world. Stop calling us Persia. Our name is Iran. It always has been. This wasn't just a name change. It was a declaration. We are not your exotic footnote. We are not a colonial subject. We are a modern nation with 5,000 years of unbroken civilization, and you will learn to say our name correctly. Today, the paradox is still alive. Say the word Iran, and most people think of geopolitical tension, sanctions, conflict, headlines. Say the word Persia, and something shifts. Poetry, grandeur, mysticism, an empire of legend. Two names, one country, one civilization that has been surviving the unthinkable for 5 millennia. It was never conquered by Alexander. It absorbed him. It was never erased by the Arabs. It redirected them. It was never crushed by the Mongols. It civilized them. And perhaps its greatest battle isn't being fought on any battlefield at all. It's being fought over a name, over memory, over the right to define what this place means to itself and to the world. Because sometimes the most powerful weapon in history isn't a sword, a religion, or an army. It's a story. And this one is 5,000 years old and still being written.